It is 12:23, and we will call the meeting of the Williamson County Emergency Service District Number 3 to order. And we'll start. Any public comment, Chief? No public comment. Moving on to presentations. Fire Chief report.
Good afternoon, board. You have a copy of my report behind the FC tab. Two things that I wanted to bring to the board's attention was to remind them that we now start to record the meetings. We will be creating a new tab on the website under the transparency stars dealing with open government. So that's where this goes. We will be getting photographs of y'all. You look
Not
fabulous.
today, right?
Montenegro will be getting photographs of you so we can put it on the website.
Fantastic.
I wanted to let you know that over the next few months, I'm going to be bringing to the board something that we've never had. That is, we have some developers outside the district that are coming to us and they're asking to become part of the ESSD. I've been working with John Carlton on this. I've spent time talking to the developers, sort of gave them a game plan of what they need to do, that nothing can start with me. It all has to start with you. So probably August, September, somewhere around there, we'll start to get this information and bring it to you. That's really the most that I can tell you now because that's all the information that I have.
When you say they're wanting to become part of the ESD, like they're just interested in bidding on jobs?
They're MUDs.
Oh,
what they want to do is they want to bring their MUD
into I got
ESD3.
Okay.
One, for example, which I know is going to be across from the recycling center on County Road 101, has already done all the documentation with Taylor, and they're released from Taylor. They're not affiliated anymore with them. Because that was my first thing was, well, you know, you're in Taylor's EPJ or City Limit. They go, oh no, I got all that. We're done.
Okay.
So as we can get letters from them, and I continue to work with Mr. Carlton on that, then we'll bring something to the board.
Okay. Perfect.
That's all I have in my report, unless you all have any questions for me.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Chief? All right. Assistant Chief report, Rob?
Yes, under the AC tab, you'll see the data for July. We continue to do well getting out of the station into the trucks in a timely manner. Staff and crews have been working really hard to make those numbers look well and get out of here on the call. Other than that, one more thing, if you don't have any questions on the data for July.
I'm sure this rain's been great for
it's certainly
Okay.
The last thing I wanted to share with you, as you recall, months back you approved us, the department, to buy new tablets for all of our engines. So we finally got them in, and we just recently, yesterday, finished installing them in all of our trucks. So now we're operating with top of the line equipment, and we've seen no hiccups from what I've heard, and we are staying visible, way more visible throughout the 24 hours and 48 hours than we were. So we're being seen on CAD and we're being selected. But we still have work to do from the CAD side. Anyway, just wanted to let you know that those are installed.
Good. Yeah.
And if I could piggyback on something he said, and I didn't have it under my report, but I believe I had shared with the board several meetings ago that we were to be selected of one of 50 fire departments in the United States to be a beta test for a new data recording program that's coming out. It's going to go nationwide. It's going to replace the old program that's out there. The old program called NIF, National Fire Incident Reporting System, will be retired in January 25. New one called NERIS, National Emergency Reporting Information System, They spent the last couple of years developing CAD folks, and that's what sort of keyed me on what the chief said. They've got CAD folks, they've got folks like ESO who deals with our data. So we received notice that we are now officially going live as one of the 50 beta sites across the United States. And my thought as to why I threw our name in there was, if we're got to go to it anyway, let's jump on the front end. We can make suggestions of things that we see that need to be changed. So Captain Saunders and Mary Ann are heading that up for us, since they both work with all of that data. So we're pretty excited that that's finally happened.
Are we the only one in Central Texas, or
we're the only one in this area that I know of?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Also, speaking of exposure, you recall a couple of months ago, Chief spoke about the video that we were going to be in. Mm-hmm. So they were here this last Tuesday. They finished doing all the videos and the shots of Hutto Fire and stations and some training and this and that. So it's on the editing floor at this moment, and we'll be seeing a final product next week or so.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions for Rob? Okay. Thanks, Rob. Fire Marshal report. Eric?
You'll see our monthly prevention statistics are in your packet there. We've closed out a few projects. We've got about 176, give or take, going on right now. Dirt moving everywhere. Some right on 79. They're moving along real good with it. It's kind of like a Titan where a big tilt wall warehouse right there. That's about all I have, unless y'all have any questions. I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Questions? Thank you. Training report.
The report we had. Ability tests today.
How many new hired?
We hired 2, and I think there is currently still 21.
Thank you. Hutto Professional Firefighters Association report.
Who's going to defer to?
Okay, perfect. And Explorers report. Okay, thank you. Consent agenda. Y'all had a chance to take a look. Very, very short consent agenda. If anybody wants to make a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay, motion, second. Need discussion on it? No discussion. All right, consent agenda approved. Moving on to regular agenda items. First, discuss bid summary for the district's promissory note relating to fire headquarters.
Last month, the board authorized us to go out for bid on promissory note for construction of headquarters. We received 9 bids in. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sabonis, who's going to talk about those bids.
Okay.
Good afternoon, board members. We received 9 bids from 7 different institutions today. The low bid provided by Chase at a fixed rate of 3.84% for the 10-year maturity, non-callable, and they require $2,500 standard process. In summary, what we actually presented a month ago, we included an interest rate considerably of 5%. 9 bids range from 3.8 to 5.4%. When you look at this, it's an outstanding bid. It really reflects somewhere the value rating in the AA category. We sold AA rated tech and municipal bond this week. We came in about the same price or about the same structure on this transaction. So to me, it doesn't surprise me that this is what we're covered by this Huntington at 4.08. We discussed with Chief yesterday the bids themselves and the non-callable. I'll tell you that all the outstanding fixed rate debt that we've issued is currently callable at any time with par. And my thoughts on this is that with this outstanding, it would only represent 28% of your outstanding debt. So you still have 72% that's fully callable, and about 70% on a yearly basis. My thought would be that, secondly, that at the interest rate of 3.84%, if you spotted the 5-year treasury or the 10-year treasury today, paying higher interest rates. So while we might not be able to call and take it away, if you wanted to pay it off, we could just set up a defeasance and actually make a little money, because we could take some cash. And right now, to give you a feel, spot rate on the money market mutual funds that are eligible for public institutions, we're paying about 5.3, 5.7, depending on the portfolios. We actually bid out some large construction programs, and they do anticipate interest rates going up. We did a 1-year, $90 million construction draw program, and we got bids from some institutions. They came in like 4.8, so they do expect rates to go down. But I think that, as I indicated to Chief, that one, we have a significant portion of callable debt. Two, if we wanted to prepay, and we might choose to prepay this first, because this will be the highest interest rate of what we have outstanding. It's simply do it by doing a formal defeasance. So to me, I think it exceeds our benchmark we talked about, and it's an outstanding rate for today's market. We suggest recommend approval. Bond counsel's here if you have any questions about the bonds. These documents reflect exactly the parallel language in the previous bonds we've done. And as I will say, it seems that every time we bid, it becomes more efficient, more participants in it. Reflection, I think, one of your management and financial management we have here, which is outstanding, especially for district, and represents the geographic area you represent, the growth area well received. So nothing but positive things to say. I just want to add thank you for allowing us to be your financial advisor. We appreciate it, and we're thankful.
Thank you. Any questions?
So, Mr. President, what you would need to do is recommend the adoption of the acceptance of the bid from Chase, which is listed as option A, 3.840%.
Okay, is that as part of number one, or is that moving into number two?
That would be part of number one, where
okay.
we would accept it. Number two then is the paperwork that goes along with that.
Gotcha. Okay, so state that again, Chief. How should that be worded?
A recommendation, a motion to accept item one, the Chase option A at 3.840%.
Okay. See if I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to accept Chase, which is the item number one, or rank number one, option A, at 3.84%. And we have a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. That has been accepted. And then on to number two, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action on a proposed resolution of the Board of Commissioners, Williamson County, ESSD number 3, approving a loan agreement and authorizing the issuance of a promissory note for financing the construction, acquisition, and equipment of the fire headquarters.
So that's all that you have to read. You have a separate stack there that says agenda item number 2. Unless you'd like to read that to the entire group, but I would not recommend that.
No, they don't want me to do this.
How about you?
What is it with the board? And bond counsel here to explain to them, like the loan document parallel what's been done previously, lots of detail. And with one exception, the purchaser has asked to sign the bond purchase agreement. As soon as you approve it, they're going to be called. They'll be hedging this in the market to firm up their position. So we plan on closing on August 8th as we go through the approval process of this through the general review and approval. But these are standard documents. Just the exception they want to know that the bond purchase agreement is just their commitment to fund your commitment to receive the benefits.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey.
My name is Jill. years. What you have before you is a resolution. That resolution approves the par amount of the $8,170,000, and it approves the interest rate, the selection of option A at 3.84%. It also recognizes the annual levy of your ad valorem tax and the use of the ad valorem tax to pay this along with your other outstanding debt. And it approves the loan agreement that is attached, and it also approves the purchase letter that is attached.
Okay.
As been pointed out, one difference is the non-callable. So that is now in this. The other documents have said that it was callable on any date. And the other change is instead of one interest payment date, there are two interest payment dates. Those are really the only differences. The last issuance of it. And you can see that schedule set forth as the exhibit to the loan agreement. There you go, on the very last page.
We spent time yesterday talking with Hilltop about the difference between the one interest payment versus
the two.
Yeah.
And over the length of the time of the loan, it's about $19,000 over 10 years.
Okay.
I want to point out two things. One is that a standard in tax exempt bonds is an interest, two interest payments, single principal payment. This entity though prefers to make single payments. Now, 19,000 assumes how much interest would be paid delaying that payment. But the fact is, with true analysis we would have done on offset that we have the money and what interest rates we have on it. Does that make sense? So
the 5% that we'd be earning.
And again, so in general, and I didn't mention this, I know some of my team was talking about it, but at today's interest rates, it's not going to be kind of a wash. But just in general, that most buyers and most of the industry looks at these double payments and chase themselves. Amazingly, when we discuss whether their computer software's got one way to go, and talking to Chief and his finance team, they accepted this a little bit extra burden to the two payments.
Yeah, and in the past, I've kind of said, no, you're going to do just one. And after a lengthy discussion, we're okay with that. Mary Ann and I talked, we're probably even going to that payment. We're going to make that up in interest because that money will be
right. Okay. That makes sense.
But it's just consistent with how bonds are generated.
Okay.
And, though some of the entities we work with us on this before, this is and this is a good thing. You can feel just a cover bid.
Right. Anybody have questions? You need a second to look at it.
Mr. President, you're the only one on this that will have to sign.
Okay.
Yeah. On one doc. Sorry.
Start loosening my hand.
I know.
I've seen a lot of things. Okay. So this.
Yeah, once you vote on that.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. We have a motion to approve and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. No opposed. That motion passes, and I guess I can start signing.
Yeah.
Just the signature page to the purchase letter.
Okay.
If you'll sign a couple copies, that'd
Okay, just sign all of these.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Did you want me to leave a copy with you, or I can send it as well?
These are also just scan it, send it.
Perfect. And together, and then they also had provided an addendum term sheet that they were asking for to sign. These provisions have been incorporated into the loan documents.
What are these?
So this is the bid form that went out, and they said, what did they say in the attachment? Oh yeah, here. See attached addendum.
Okay.
And so this is what came from the bank, and then this was their term sheet.
Okay.
That had the option A and B in there.
Okay.
And this is what they're also asking to be signed. These provisions have been incorporated into the loan document.
Okay.
But
yeah, couldn't they have made that like 665,999? 666.
That's why it's your signature and not anybody else.
I know. It's like, for all I know, there's something in here about take my grandson in a couple of weeks. Okay. So am I signing here?
Yes.
Wait, this page does not need to be signed. All the signature pages
are
tabbed at the beginning of each step.
Here. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, that was just part of this document.
And I'm doing all three of these.
Please.
Do I need to fill all that in, or?
I can fill that in.
Okay. I feel like I'm on hidden camera and somebody's going to go, here's your new truck that you just.
If only.
Okay.
Perfect.
That it?
Is it?
All right. Thank you.
So let's stand by one more sign.
Of course. No doubt. All right. Moving on to item number 3, discuss and consider adoption. Thank you. Discuss and consider adoption of the tax and budget planning calendar for 2024, authorize payment of tax process publications, and take any related action.
The board, you have behind tab 3 the calendar for our tax program.
Thank you.
This would be proposed tax rate, adopt the budget. One special meeting will need to be held, and that is on the 8th. That it should be a very fast meeting where you would propose the tax rate. The rest of the things can be done at the regular board meeting.
Okay. On the 8th, are we doing that at noon? Like,
it would be noon.
Okay. Are you available? Okay. Okay. That should be fine. At least for the 3 of us.
Okay. So you would need to adopt the calendar. We have to submit this to the tax office.
And just so that you all know, if you wait until August 22nd, you're not going to be able to adopt a tax rate that exceeds the voter approval rate. And I assume that's the intention. So just wanted to make sure everybody understood that.
John, that's even with the de minimis?
Correct.
So in the past, we were able to adopt per the tax office, we could do the de minimis rate at that time period.
So the deadline to adopt, well, actually, let me see, August 22nd, your deadline to I'll have to work up other calendars. Hang on.
I always go off of what the tax office tells us is what we're able to use.
Let me get it to one of my. Apologies, I'm working through my files. So, excuse me, yeah, so you can't, it's the Monday the 26th. So sorry, I read the date wrong. 22nd meeting, you could still be able to exceed the voter approval rate. Yeah, but only if it's less than the minutes.
Yeah, so and by law, we couldn't go above the minutes. Even
you actually can, but it would require an election.
Correct. But, I mean, if the minimus takes us to 10 cents, then we're still within the requirements of the law.
Correct.
Mr. President,
so
we're still good.
So we're good.
We're still good on that day.
Okay, so the 8th is when we will meet to propose the tax rate.
That's correct.
And the 22nd then is
When we adopt it.
a hearing to discuss the proposed tax rate, and we can adopt it at that hearing. Okay, and then the other one, the optional one that's below that, says meeting to adopt tax rate if applicable.
And that would have been if we had to do other things that John just mentioned. So we're within our time frame.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. Are y'all, as far as you know, are y'all good on the 22nd?
As far as I know.
Because that one, that's critical.
Yeah.
August becomes critical for us
Sure.
when we have to meet the deadline set by the tax office. Well, not the tax office, the deadline set by state law.
Right. Okay. Okay, so we need a motion to adopt the budget planning calendar. Okay, have a motion. We have a second. All right, have a motion to adopt the budget planning calendar of August the 8th and August 22nd. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, no opposed. That passes. Okay, that is set. We've all committed to the 8th and the 22nd. All right. Number 4, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action on construction of fire station number 4.
Construction continues. I'll turn it over to our architect.
Yeah, permanent power. Pretty exciting because our last station we didn't have permanent power. So we're excited about getting that done. Electrician is working hard to try to get caught up and get it all energized. The air conditioning systems are all ready to be turned on as soon as they get them energized. We had one panel in the electrical room that was back ordered that we hope to get this week. And once they tie all, and of course that's the panel that runs the mechanical equipment, but we can't install certain things in the facility until we have the air conditioning running, like millwork and that sort of thing. So we're still on schedule, working through all this stuff, but kind of kudos for Encore because they got out there and they did it even faster than we thought we could get it done. So that was a real good news. All the concrete's been poured for the drives. They're working on some other areas for flat work concrete and that sort of thing. So the site's looking good on that. The building's looking really good. It's all dried in. The big folding doors are in. We can't operate them except by hand just because there's no electricity, but that will all take care of itself in the next week or two. So we're still on schedule to finish it. On schedule, I think it's in August, is it? End of August is when we're looking at substantial completion.
Okay.
Which means we can use the building for its intended purposes. So we're still on that schedule. Unless the rains decide to rain between here and then, but we don't have a lot of outside work. We have some flexibility and all that, right? Actually.
Okay.
So that's where we are. Everything's looking good. They're doing a good job.
Good. Good.
I was going to say the board will remember we originally had some issues out there. We didn't. The GC and the contractors had theft issues. And those things have been taken care of. And I feel a lot more comfortable now that we have doors completely around the building. That's keeping from people from hopefully walking, just snooping around.
Do you have is there a ribbon cutting, grand opening kind of date set?
No, sir, we have not set a date. We don't do a ribbon cutting. We do a.
That's true, right? You do a hose and cut, yeah.
We have not set that yet. We will work with Ann's family because we want to make sure that they're there, but we'll make sure the board has plenty of notice ahead of time. So that may be a couple months even after.
Maybe like October sometime.
Possibly, yes, sir. And then the other thing that we're waiting on, which would become a ceremony, is the masons, where the masons put their stone in. We're at the mercy of the masons when they get the stone, when they put it in, but they do a very nice ceremony when they install that. So we'll keep you informed on all that.
Great. That's exciting. Thank you. All right, on to number 5, discuss, consider, take action, appropriate action on fire headquarters building site and structure.
We'll turn that over to the architect and engineer.
We are in the city of Hutto's building permit process. We hope to have it done before your 22nd of August, their review and that sort of thing in the permits. Lackshade's working on other permits at this time. I'll let him discuss those, but we're on schedule, we feel like, with when we get all the permits and that sort of thing. Lackshade.
Yep. We're in the process with City of Hutto on the site development permit and with Manville for the water permit. There's a item concerning the existing line that we're tapping into with their easement. It was a backdated document even before the PUD was established that gave them a blanket easement on their infrastructure. Since that's been developed and PUD and right-of-way take has happened, still working through what that easement would need to be updated to. So that's the only hiccup I see so far as to getting the permit. That was just.
Okay. And what we found or what Lackshay found during that permit, trying to get that was when he asked them for construction drawings, they said, "Oh, that doesn't exist."
We asked for record of as-built information. They didn't have that on their own line. So we might have to do some investigation of what line, where it sits today as far as the property line is. Okay. Might not even have to do an easement, but still got to make sure.
Okay. Do you have a feel for when they'll get back to you?
I talked to the chief, and Manville is not, I don't think they're thinking about timelines, so we might have to do that effort on our own end, just to suit our timeline.
What's our timeline?
We have all the permits in place.
By September,
okay.
Right. September, we should have all the permits.
I want to put it out for bids at the August meeting, correct, Chief?
Okay.
So that's our goal right now.
All right. Any questions? Okay. Thank y'all. Thank you. Number 6, discuss, consider, take appropriate action on adoption of 2024 fire code.
Afternoon. In order to help maintain our best practice, our ISO rating 1 and be in compliance with best practices, we have to adopt new fire code every cycle. It comes out every 3 years. And then what we plan to do is once we get the new fire code adopted, the city's getting ready in the next few months to adopt a whole bunch of codes as well. And they want to adopt the same code that we are so that we mesh and we're on the same fire codes. In the past, it's been they're on one code.
Really?
At one point, they were on the 2009 and we were on the 28th.
Well,
so we've kind of fixed all that. They're on the 2021 right now. We are too. And once we adopt the 2024, then they're going to adopt our codes as well. So what I did in your packet there's some, I kind of did a 30,000 foot view, some significant changes to the 2024 International Fire Code. Very little of it actually affects things in our jurisdiction, but one good thing they did is they created a whole new section for the indoor-outdoor storage of lithium-ion batteries. They become such a fire hazard these days. And previous to the 2024, there really wasn't very little regulations. They put in a nice beefy chapter for those, some safety requirements. Some other things they did, they created a new chapter that deals with mobile food vendors and temporary heating and cooking operations. They kind of pulled it out of one section, lumped a bunch of things together. They clarified a bunch of definitions. They added some additional requirements for fire alarms and sprinklers, but that's mainly as it deals with lithium ion battery storage and a few other things like that. And in our amendments, what would kind of change, there'll be some administrative changes, just numbers of sections and things like that. But the 2024 International Business Code, Building Code now requires 2-hour fire ratings for fire sprinkler and pump riser rooms, whereas ours was an hour. So we'll have to change that to kind of be in compliance with the 2024 International Building Code. And for our FAR system, which is the firefighter air replenishment systems, buildings like the parking garage over 5 stories or 500,000 square feet have to have outlets available to us in the building so we can fill up our air bottles. And that's kept in a room that has a 1-hour fire rating. And what we did to kind of keep with the pump and riser rooms in the 2024 International Building Code is change that to a 2-hour rating. We've got this information in there. We're bringing it to you now. You can look it over. If you want, we could bring it back to you next month. Come back with any questions you have. Unless you're good now and want to ask questions now, I'll be happy to answer any. You can either vote on it now or wait till next month when we bring it back to you folks, whatever works best for you.
You say it gets updated every 3 years?
Yes, sir, every 3 years. It's in a 3-year cycle.
Okay.
And was there anything that we had to do in order to bring that rating up from the 1 hour to 2 hours?
No, it's simply I make some proposed amendment changes, and Chief looks at them. We send them out.
But there's nothing physically that we have to do to the rooms to do that?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. This is all new construction.
Okay. And then the other thing about like the scooters and hoverboards and stuff, are we proposing, or is it proposed that those aren't allowed in like public buildings? Or
we don't have that now. There's several different things in works, and fire code actually addresses not only lithium ion battery storage, but they do address micro mobility devices, the hoverboards and that. So they do have some recommendations in there that we can enforce.
Because I know like the universities aren't allowing them
in
buildings and stuff now. So I was just wondering if that was going to become a city thing too.
That's kind of the general idea.
Okay.
We're working with the city on several different things right now, and you know how it works. We'll see how it goes when we get closer to doing it, kind of thing.
Okay. Just curious.
No, absolutely. I'm happy to answer any questions you'll have.
So that part of our world is really new as far as from an operational standpoint, how we deal with fires. To you can look at incidents in New York City where there were 8 people killed because they had e-bikes and e-scooters and hoverboards in the apartments. It may have been more than that. So codes are just now starting to catch up. Codes always follow disasters.
Yeah.
And so after you get the first, this 2024 edition becomes really the first stab at it. So they'll get out there, and then when they come out in 27, they will have refined what they do with that.
Yeah.
It gives us a starting point to actually do something and enforce something. Got to start somewhere.
And who does this? Is the International Fire Code?
International Fire Code, International Building Code. Yes,
okay.
Where does that originate?
The International Code Council, and cities, municipalities, jurisdiction, they can choose to adopt that or not, or they could go with like NFPA 101 and adopt that as their code, or not. They kind of have those options.
Is IFC what we've always?
It is. So as an ESD, that's the codes. That's the only one that we're allowed to adopt. A city will have the building code. They'll have a residential code. They'll have a wildland interurban based code. There's an electrical code, a plumbing code. So they can do the whole library. Back to a comment one of you made earlier. We worked for several years with the city of Hutto to try to get it to where we were doing it together. We always use the example that if the three of you lived on a street, but Todd, you were in the county and everyone else was in the city, or that was your business, you would be under one code while the other two were under a different one. Well, then all of a sudden you go, well, how come they don't have to do this type thing? So with the new administration that they've had over the last several years, it really became a no-brainer between both of us. Like, that's the best thing for the people out here is let's just get on the same sheet of music. Now, all they do at city council or at the city of Hutto say, oh, just go see the ESSD fire code because that's what we use.
Good. There wouldn't be any reason they wouldn't adopt it.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
I don't see any reason why we need to push this off beyond today. So someone wants to make a motion to adopt this.
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did she propose?
I'm not listening to her.
We have a motion to adopt the 2024 fire code, and we have a second. Any further discussion? No. All in favor? Aye. And no opposed. So that is adopted. Moving on to number 7, discuss, consider, take appropriate action on the HPFFA petition for collective bargaining.
We have a supplemental packet there. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Carlton, who is going to explain everything to all of you.
Okay.
So before we get to the supplemental agenda, we did send a petition for review over to the voter registrar for the county. They confirmed there's a sufficient number of signatures of registered voters. They stopped their review once they got to more than enough registered voters. And so as a result of that, we prepared documents to call the election. All of that is listed on the supplemental agenda. The reason you have a supplemental agenda is because everything election related has to be in English and Spanish. And rather than translate your entire agenda, we just translate the supplemental agenda with the election related items. I'm happy to go through all of the items. You could approve them each individually, or you could approve them collectively at your pleasure, whichever you want to do. Let me know. You want me to go through them?
I think we'd probably want to do it collectively.
All right. So
I got John, just 1 second. Chief has a question.
Yep.
John, I have a question for you on the calendar that came out, because the notification to the election department has to be done by tomorrow. Do you do that, or do I have to hand carry stuff?
We can handle that. We can let them know. Okay.
Okay, John.
So the first item is the order adopting and implementing voting systems. This is a requirement, and because we haven't had an election, we are simply adopting the same voting systems that the county uses, since they're going to conduct the county election for us. The second item is a resolution authorizing the board secretary to appoint someone to perform their duties during the election period. This prevents the board secretary from having to sit in the office daily while the election is going on. And Mary Ann instead gets to do that. But she's in the office anyway, so she gets to handle all those duties. The third item is the contract for election services and the joint election agreement with the county. What you've got is a resolution for that. And I believe you also have the county's form agreement for those agreements that essentially enables the county to do what they need to do to run the election for us rather than us running it ourselves. Item 4 is the actual order calling the election. I would point you in item 4 to the recital basically kind of point out that we got the petition and how many signatures we had, and then there is a proposition on the second page under section 3, and that is what's going to appear on the ballot, and it's as stated. That will kind of be what people see and what they vote on.
Is that the one that's the adoption of the state law applicable to?
Yes.
That establishes collective bargaining? Okay.
Yes. So that's what people will read and either vote for or against.
Okay.
The remaining information on that. So that calls the election for November. Then there's item 5, which is the order adopting and implementing bilingual election requirements. Because we're in Texas, and in particular in Central Texas, all the, like I said, election materials have to be in English and Spanish. There are other parts of Texas where other languages are required, but we're only English and Spanish. And so then the item 6 is to authorize us to make sure that notice of election is going out properly and timely. We'll coordinate that into the Sun for publication. And then the last is a little bit of a catch-all to talk about the election, but I don't have really anything else that I need to bring up with you under that item. So if you would, a motion to approve items 1 through 6 as discussed would be the way to collectively approve all of these things that allow us to move forward with the election process.
Okay. Items 1 through 6 of the supplemental agenda.
Of the supplemental agenda. Excuse me. Yes.
Okay. Any questions? Y'all were both gone last time, weren't you, when we talked about this?
Yeah.
Okay. And Chief, do you want to, can you give a brief synopsis? Because Mary Claire and Stephen were both not at the last meeting when we collected the petitions and sent them off to.
Yeah, so in between myself and Jason, the president of the local asked for collective to go forward with collective bargaining on behalf of the membership. They went out and they received the appropriate number of signatures. They had to do that. Jason, want to add?
Yeah, so like the reasoning behind it.
Whatever you want to add.
Oh, okay. So we went out and got signatures over our fire district into this city. All it does, it gives us a seat at the table with the ESSD to make for decision making for the department. That's why we just felt like we want to protect what we have. Unknown what's happening in the county moving forward. That's what started all this. So,
and the stack of signatures was this thick.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of man hours, a lot of walking, a lot of sweating. But,
yeah, they got a lot of signatures.
And I just shared with the board, this is a natural progression in the growth of a fire department, the growth of a public safety organization. And the governing body can look at it 2 ways, either as a threat or a positive. To me, it's a positive. We do the things that is involved with the contract collective bargaining anyway, but this now formalizes those things that we've just done as we've grown and as we continue to add employees.
Yeah, I was hoping you would say that because you talked about that last time at the meeting that we already are doing.
Yes, and when you look at our standard operating procedures, for example, under human resources, we have a grievance process. We have the vacation policies, the sick leave policies, which you find those in contract. But we've done those since we were much smaller. Now we're getting much larger.
Right. Got any questions? Questions?
Yeah. I met with Chief and that was
to understand it better. Okay, perfect. So If no other questions, then we'll entertain a motion to approve items 1 through 7, 1 through 6, right? 1 through 6 of the supplemental meeting agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay. Second. A motion to approve items 1 through 6 of the supplemental meeting agenda, and we have a second. Any further discussion? If not, then all in favor? Aye. Okay, the motion passes. On to the election. And
John, now let me ask you a question. Will there be anything else that appears on the August agenda for this?
For this, there should not.
Okay.
Okay. And finally, item 8, discuss, consider, take appropriate action on report from Carlton Law Firm on 89th legislative session items. Anything on that, John?
I don't have anything new to report. Been continuing to meet with folks both down at the Capitol and kind of with say as part of the state association. We're still kind of waiting to see outcomes of elections and what the committee assignments at the Capitol are going to look like, but we won't know that until well into February or March. But there hasn't been a lot of movement. There is some interest out of the San Antonio delegation or at least the ESSD folks from San Antonio, trying to do something more statewide since they were successful in their local bill. So that's kind of out there. I do know there are some discussions about how to deal with fire code and fire code enforcement matters. I think there's been some talk of that in Williamson County and in Travis County. And so we'll kind of keep monitoring those things. But that's all I've got right now. Chief, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Anything to add on annexations? I know I talked with Chief Perkins. He said there was a pretty good discussion about annexations.
So there was a discussion certainly about annexations from the Bexar County delegation and what San Antonio is doing, but there hasn't been I guess kind of a consensus about how to move forward with that. The last couple legislatures have been very anti-city annexation and actually have made some efforts to decrease cities' extraterritorial jurisdiction, which would then supplementally, accordingly affect their ability to annex. And so I don't know where that is, but that discussion is still on the table. The cities obviously do not like that, but those discussions are out.
Okay. Anything else? Any questions? Comments? All right. At 1:16, we will adjourn this meeting. Yeah, a lot of signing. Thank you guys for all y'all do.